stabilization.
And Peter Schiff, this is exactly what the markets have been focusing on for a while now. It's all about Europe right now, isn't it? Peter Schiff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I was
when
distracted.
I say your name, Peter, it's time for you to talk.
In my mind, it's not all about Europe.
Go.
I think in some people's minds it is. But, I think Europe is really foreshadowing a bigger problem here in the United States. But, I think there's still some short-term downside risk in the market. But I think the central banks, unfortunately, are not going to allow a substantial collapse in stock prices. I think they're going to come in with more money printing. And ultimately, you're going to see a reversal and nominal stock prices will rise. But it's not going to be good economic policy. It's not going to be good for the economy. That's exactly what we don't need.
And Bill,
let's talk about that, though. I mean, Peter, what is your sort of expectation in terms of how this plays out here? A lot of debate on whether or not we'll have a disorderly or orderly exit of Greece from the euro, or do you expect perhaps Greece stays in the euro?
I don't even know. I mean, there are several different ways it could play out. Long term, I think the worst thing that can happen for the Eurozone is for Greece to stay there and you to have this moral hazard where everybody is basically subsidizing everybody else's profligacy. The only way that it makes sense for Greece to stay in that Eurozone is if they can force Greece to undergo more austerity. But I think that if those are the choices, the Eurozone would be better off if Greece left. And I think there's more of a long-term threat for Greece remaining in the euro than leaving. I think that is overblown. But I don't know. The politics are very strong. I mean, there's a lot of incentives for politicians in Europe to do what's wrong in the long run in order to appease the voters in the short run. That's exactly what we're doing here. I mean, there's a powerful temptation for politicians to avoid swallowing the bitter-tasting medicine that is necessary to correct the problem.
Let me get Bob Pisani here. Bob, you trying to say something there?
Well, the people keep, I'm picking up on Peter's theme, people keep talking about the mood on the streets of Athens. Peter, what about the mood on the streets of Berlin? How much longer are the Germans going to be willing to write the checks? Because no matter what scenario I see here, the Germans have got to write a big check.
Yeah. Bill Sparopoulos.
Yeah, I mean, you've got they're burning these Merkel dolls in effigy in Greece. They should be doing it in Berlin. I mean, they never should have signed on to this deal to have to pick up the tab for the irresponsible governments in Greece and other parts of Europe. They can't do it no more than people in some states. People in Texas don't want to have to pay for the deficits in California. But who knows? That might happen.
I'm wondering if next week the focus returns to the U.S. Rick Santelli, you've got some Fed speak coming out next week. You've got the GDP. You've got unemployment numbers. What are you seeing ahead of all that?
Well, Fed speak, they're going to be nervous about Europe and hold out the notion of quantitative easing, but it's a political hot potato, so I moved that right off. It's about 2 unemployment data points, ADP on Thursday instead of Wednesday, BLS on Friday, and our second look of first quarter GDP on Thursday. If you were disappointed with 2.2, looks like we're going to end up with 1.8 or 1.9. You look at the Chinese stock market, you can see the cross-trade flows out of Europe are impacting that, as well as weak loan demand. I'll tell you, Maria, I just can't be optimistic. Even if we are the cleanest dirty shirt, it's still not that clean.
No.
Well, be that as it may, Bill
and I don't think we're the cleanest one. I think we're dirtier. People just haven't figured it out yet. And, when people say that the problems in Europe are hurting us, they're actually helping us, because people are so worried about Europe, they're buying dollars and they're buying treasuries.
Yeah, let's bring Bill in here. Go ahead, Bill. What were you saying?
You have to look forward, and I think that the gloomers and the babble and all the negative stuff has been center stage for a long time. We've had just about a 1/3 correction off of the October lows. I think the news gets better going forward. There's change coming to America. There's a lot of bullish things. The mamby-pamby politicians globally are going to get sent home. And talk to this Greek, okay? 8 out of 10 Greeks don't want to leave the euro because they know the politicians get a free ride and the quality of life gets a whole lot worse.
Well, if they don't want to leave the euro, Bill, why did they vote the way they did on the last election?
That's a great
Why
point.
do people vote the way they do? Not everybody goes out and votes.
I mean, it's pretty clear that the elections in Greece right now,
75%.
the Greeks, the elections in Greece right now are a proxy on whether they want to stay in the euro or not, whether they want the bailout money or the austerity
Greek voters want something
plans.
for nothing. That's what all voters want.
All
That's
voters
what they're
want
voting
something for nothing. all voted.
Well, 75, look, let's say the 75% of the people who were polled this week said they would like to stay in the euro. That's what the people are saying. The problem, and I think what you're saying, is that, yes, they would like this, the idea of staying in the euro sounds good, but they don't necessarily want to take the cuts and the austerity that come along with it.
Yeah, but the irony of it is, if they
don't have
the
a plan.
Eurozone and they get the drachma, they're going to have even bigger cuts because the drachma is going to collapse, and real wages in Greece are going to fall a lot more if they leave the euro than if they stay there and swallow the austerity.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate your time tonight, and have a nice weekend. We'll see you soon.